Good morning. This chart tells the whole story. The United States Treasury Department tracks the ownership of our government bonds. The Treasury keeps comprehensive data on whom we owe money to and where the bonds are kept in custody. The chart shows how many of our bonds are held by China in billions of dollars. We can see right away that they're back to where they were back in 2010 at under $800 billion. We can also see the big drop just since 2020 from over $1.1 trillion to where we are now. What is extraordinary too is that China's trade surpluses in US dollars are also growing. Every day China's earning billions of dollars in overseas trade. This is net, by the way. So China is earning a lot of money every day, and they're also selling off their treasury bonds. So where is the money going? First, a disclaimer though, which is that the headline might be accurate in a general sense, but maybe not in a technical one. China may not be selling treasury bonds. They may just be letting their existing treasuries mature and not reinvesting the proceeds into more treasury bonds. The result would be the same. Their treasury holdings are declining with time, but it's not quite the same as selling existing bonds in the secondary market. They may be doing that too, but we don't know. A few weeks ago, we reported that China had been switching from treasuries to buying bonds from housing agencies, what we call Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But there isn't nearly enough new issuance from the agencies for China to be putting much money into there. So to ask again, what is China doing with all these dollars that they're earning and getting back when the bonds either mature, paid back at face value, or which they're selling in the secondary market and getting cash for right now? And the truth is, we just don't know. Gold is rallying in price, and a lot of that is being driven by China and by the Chinese central bank buying. We also see some evidence that China may be stockpiling other commodities, including raw materials and energy products. What is undeniable, though, is that they are moving away from US dollar denominated debt. And when we read articles like this one, but which appear in Chinese language publications, I need to use Chrome, Google Chrome, the browser, because it has a Chinese to English translator that's built in. I strongly recommend doing that. And here's why. The people who read and comment on financial topics are people who have subscribed in publications to read about those topics. We pay money every single month to get the news. We have to know what's going on. And when we read through the comments written in Chinese, we are reading comments from business executives and global managers who work for Chinese companies, or they're professors at leading Chinese universities, or they're government officials. These are not nobodies, in other words. And one of the truisms in media is that for every guy who takes the time to write a letter, there are 1,000 guys who believe the same thing, but they don't bother writing one. And more, what are those decision makers talking about? De-risking. When we read the Wall Street Journal or Barron's or Bloomberg or other Western financial media, de-risking means we need to reduce our dependence on China, move supply chains, reduce our exposure to China. If we read Chinese publications, de-risking goes the other way. It involves the urgency of reducing their dependence on the United States or of Europe and China's exposures there. They're saying in these comment sections that when China buys US Treasury bonds, there is now an unacceptably high level of risk that needs to be avoided. And if you're reading those articles and comments here in China, it is page after page after page of those comments from global executives and top managers, university professors who believe that lending money to the United States and in the European Union, or otherwise holding US dollar reserves, which is the same thing, is risky, and they need to diversify out of that risk, and quickly. Links are in the video description below. The goodbye video on this one is from Hangzhou, Westlake, Hangzhou, Zhejiang. Be good.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light